What is up, YouTube and my fellow DDD fam? It's your boy Drip back with another video. In today's video, I have another discussion video. So I'm sorry you don't get to look at pretty cardboard. You gotta look at my face. I'm very sorry. but no, today's video is going to be a video on something that some of you all have requested from me, and you ask, and if I can, I shall deliver. So in today's video is going to be a discussion on how to make a side deck. And obviously, if you know all of my videos, unless you all ask otherwise, it's always going to be from a competitive standpoint. And there's going to be a lot of thought added in and everything else. So in this video, I'm going to break down how I build my side decks when I play competitive Yu-Gi-Oh! Granted, there'll be other ways of doing this, and a lot of you all already know this, but this is mainly for people who are just getting back into the game or wanting to take their game up another level and play at a different, like, casual level, from casual to competitive. So I'm not necessarily saying this is the best way. This is just the way that I've done it, and I've seen success. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get in the video. Well, before we get into this video, guys, if you don't mind, please hit that like button if you haven't already. Hit the subscribe button, bell notification so you never miss an upload, and check the description for all the ways to support me. Patreon is down there. You can go check out the Patreon and see all the cool perks that you can get for being part of the Patreon. Discord, PayPal, Twitter. Go follow your boy on Twitter. A lot of y'all been slacking, haven't been following me on Twitter. What's wrong? You don't like me or something? Yeah, I know you don't like me. You know how I know you don't like me? Because 68% of you guys are returning members and are not subscribed. So again, hit that subscribe button. But I won't make you wait any longer. Let's go ahead and get into step one. Step one in creating, my opinion, the best competitive side deck is very simple. Know your deck. Know your deck inside and out. And what I mean by that is there's a difference between knowing your deck and knowing your deck, if that makes sense. What I mean by that is a lot of people will know the deck, but they don't know the ins and outs of the deck and know what its pros are and what its cons are, what its strengths are, what its weaknesses are. You need to know your deck in order to make a competitive side deck in modern Yu-Gi-Oh, my personal opinion. A lot of people will say that it's just generic, just throw generic stuff in there that counters the meta, blah, blah. Yes, that is true to an extent, but to get the most out of your cards, you need to know what your deck does and what it doesn't do, what it's good at and what it's not good at. So, step one is to know your deck. Step two. The step two is fill the void of what your deck is not good at, if that makes sense. So, if your deck is good at like going first, then your side deck, along with your utility cards, as in go second cards, whether they be in the main or the side, need to be dedicated to going second, because you're not going to win the dice rolls every time, unfortunately. If you're like me, you never win freaking dice rolls. So you need to have cards for when you know that you're going to lose the dice roll or you know you're going to go second. And then put those in your side deck, because basically you need to think as your deck and deck building as in a puzzle, if that makes sense. So, or a piece of pie. Your deck can only cover so much of the pie, all right? So the slice that is missing is what your deck is not good at. You plug in that puzzle piece or the piece of pie, or whatever you want to call it, and that be your going second cards and the cards that are in your side deck. And then, while at the same time helping your deck achieve and accomplish what it needs to achieve. Step number three. Step number three that I think you need to do while creating a side deck. So now let's go over. You know your deck. You establish what your deck likes to do, whether it's going first or going second. So you fill the side deck with the opposing version of what your deck likes to do, meaning if your deck likes to go first, you fill the side deck with going second cards. If your deck likes to go second, you fill the side deck with cards going first. Now, step number 3, make sure the generic cards that you put in, and if you don't know what generic means, I will tell you. If you're new to Yu-Gi-Oh!, whenever you hear the term generic, that usually stands for cards that cover everything. Cards that are good at being versatile against a lot of different matchups. So, when you put these generic cards in your side deck, you need to make sure that they don't hurt your deck. For an example, if you know you're going to be playing against a deck that hurts against a hand trap dimensional shifter, Shifter is a card that says if you control no cards in your graveyard, you can discard this card until the end of the next turn. Cards that would normally go to the graveyard are now banished. If you know that card hurts your opponent and hurts you too, it would be kind of silly to run it because it's counterproductive, because even though you are hurting them, you are also at the same time hurting yourself. So at the same time, when you put these cards in your side deck, you need to make sure that they help you while slowing your opponent down at the same time as well. So we know our deck, we know what our deck is good at. Now we can start putting cards in, like, which is step 3, we can start putting in generic cards that help us counter our opponent's deck. Now, one thing I will say, even though this could be another step, I'm just going to save it all together and not make it a whole nother thing. Your side deck needs to be as versatile as possible. Now, granted, even though you know what your deck, and you know your deck is good at, as in going first or second, not all of your side deck needs to be dedicated to the opposing thing. So if you know you're good going first, not everything needs to be in there for good for going second, because you need to have a well-rounded circle, or in this case, a full pie. And then you need to make sure that you have cards that are good going first and cards that are good going second in the side deck, because you never know what kind of matchup you're going to go up against, whether you're going up against a strategy that likes to mainly go second, or cards that, or decks that like to go first. So you have a side deck that's versatile, that cards that can promote your deck to going first, and cards that can promote your deck to going second at the same time, establishing what your deck likes to do. So, not to mention, there's a lot of going first cards that are very, like, high impact and blowout cards, like Dimensional Barrier, for an example. If you were playing a fusion-based deck, you can use going first. You're playing against a strategy like the Synchro Summon, like Sword Soul or something like that. You can use Dimensional Barrier and just flat out call Synchro, and it can be completely turn ending, which at the time doesn't hurt you because it's a go first option. And not on top of that, you are playing a fusion-based deck, not a Synchro-based deck. Sorry, I lost my train of thought right there. Which leads me to my next thing. If you guys want to see cards that are good going second, or good side deck options, or even potentially main deck options, I made a video already talking about generic cards that are going to be good this format that we're currently in February, March of 2023 at the time of recording this video. I'll put the link to that in the description down below. You all can go check that out. Please do. But let's move on with the rest of this video. All right, so step number 4. Step number 4 is going to be kind of seem like the same thing that same thing of steps 1, 2, and 3. So now we know they're all going to have similarities in that part. Sorry, I'm terrible with words. So step 1, we know our deck. Step 2, we know what our deck likes to accomplish. And in step number 3, we start getting a general idea of cards and stuff that are good in the format now, or good against certain meta decks, or decks that we are going to see, whether we're going to events or going to our locals. So if you haven't gone to a locals before, my personal opinion, if you're going to your locals for the first time, couple of things. 1, congratulations and welcome to competitive Yu-Gi-Oh! I'm happy that you have decided to go to your first locals. Welcome to the cult. This game sucks your life away. Trust me. 2, I would go ahead and build your side deck as if you're going to a bigger event, just so you have all the versatility and everything like that. Then once you get a grasp on what your locals or wherever you're primarily going to be playing meta is, then I would switch your side deck towards that. And also, if you're new to Yu-Gi-Oh and you don't know what the term meta means basically the most popular / represented or powerful decks currently, or whatever they is playing the most at the time in highest representation, if that makes sense. Kind of talking in circles. Which leads me to step number 4. Step number 4, you need to get the most value out of your cards for your side deck. Granted, a lot of cards are going to have similarities to where they kind of do the same thing, but other cards will get you more value, which when I mean by value, and when you hear that term in Yu-Gi-Oh, modern era of Yu-Gi-Oh, more value means they do more than their related cards, meaning they have multiple effects. They can hit multiple decks. Or, like in this case, Dimensional Barrier. It is a very high impact card. The reason why, now, granted, so like, let's say you're playing, let's say this for an example. There's 2 options here. If you're going up against strategies like a fusion-based strategy, let's say you're playing against Branded or your locals has Branded. You have 2 options. You can side deck a card called Non-Fusion Area, which basically says your opponent can't activate or summon fusion monsters for the most part. It basically says no to fusions, or which is a permanent card, or you can run a card called Dimensional Barrier that I've mentioned previously in this video. Now, Dimensional Barrier says you flip this card, declare a type, a Fusion Synchro XZ, and then your opponent cannot summon that type and negate the effects of cards on the field with that specific declared type. So, which one would you consider more high impact? I'll give you a few seconds. I would consider Dimensional Barrier more high impact. The reason why is, granted, that it only lasts for that one turn, unlike Non-Fusion Area, which is a continuous trap. Dimensional Barrier hits more than one type. It hits more than Fusion. It can hit Synchro and XZ too, which in this case is high impact and you get more for your buck, basically. It's more versatile and you get more out of the card. So this case, this would be a good side deck option for when we want or know we're going first, because it covers more bases. So that's what you kind of need to get in your mind when you're building your side decks when it comes to getting the most overall value. For an example, a card like Lightning Storm, okay, over a card that's like Harpy's Feather Duster. Granted, they're both, I think, in my opinion, they both need to be in your side deck. But in theory, Lightning Storm, if you see it in your opening hand, is more impactful than Harpy's Feather Duster. The reason why is the card does more than what Harpy's Feather Duster does. Lightning Storm is a card that says if you control no monsters or no cards, you can destroy all back row or you can destroy all monsters as long as they're in attack position. So, as where Harpy's Feather Duster just destroys back row. But again, I think both of them should be in your side deck. That's just me personally. So, with that being said, it's cards like that you need to fill your side deck with because they cover more than one area. If you limit yourself to just one generic archetype or one archetype that you're trying to cover, you're going to get blown out. You might cover that one archetype, an engine, but you're also at the same time going to get completely blown out by everything else. So you don't know, like when you're going into events or you're going into your locals for the first time, like we already established, you don't know what you're going to be playing against, so you need to be ready for anything. There could be old boy from like 2011, 2012, 13 area or whatever, just playing Cosmos or something. You have nothing for him, bro. So you have to have something, or my dude playing Light Sworns from 2011. So like you never know what you're getting yourself into. So you always want to make sure that you have your side deck ready and your deck at its highest potential to be able to combat those decks. So let's get a recap here. 1, you know your deck and you establish you know what it likes to do. It likes to go first or it likes to go second. So you know what it does. 2, you start thinking of ideas that cards that can go in the side deck that can help counter what your deck is weak, what your deck's weaknesses is. And then 3, you start putting in cards or looking for cards that are generic and you get the most value out of. 4, you start plugging those side deck cards in, which I kind of forget on step 3. I'm sorry. Step 3, you make sure that the cards do not hurt your deck that you're going to be putting in the side deck. So, which back to step 4, you start plugging in cards, hand traps, go second cards, or whatever that are high impact while having their most versatility and well-rounded that cover more than one area of certain decks, if that makes sense. So, but that's just all the things you have to consider when you go building a side deck. I apologize again if like I kind of talk in circles or I might have lost you there. I'm sometimes really bad at talking with words because what is English? What is talking? But if you have any other questions, just please don't hesitate to ask me or ask me in the Discord. I read all of your all's comments. I love talking to you guys. I love seeing your all's feedbacks. And most of all, I love helping you guys because I wouldn't make videos if I didn't want to get better at what I'm doing, but also at the same time, help you get better as well and make you the best duelist you can be. At the same time, bringing more people into this game and catching them up to speed to where everyone else is at. If they are new to the game, we always need to strive to have more players. The more players, the more fun we get to have. And that's all we all are here for anyways, is to have fun with the game that we enjoy or the game that we have played since we were children. So, but with that being said, guys, I hope you all enjoyed the video. That is all I have to really say. If I missed anything, just let me know in the comment sections down below. If you have any other questions, just again, let me know in the comment section down below or hit me up in the Discord or Twitter or wherever you want to hit me up at. Please do so. I love talking to you guys. But again, please hit that like button if you haven't already. And please check the Patreon and the description and everything down below for all the other ways to support me or get my input or get one-on-one time with me through the Patreon or whatever you want to do. But please, guys, hit that subscribe button, bell notification so you never miss uploads. 67% of you guys not being subscribed but are returning members really hurts my soul. We're working our way to 2,000. I really want to hit that 2,000 mark before the end of the year. I'd really like to hit it before summer because the way you guys have been blowing up, we've really stand a chance to potentially hit it before the end of summer. So let's do that together. Let's grow this D2D fam and let's keep chugging along. But again, with that being said, I won't keep you any longer. I love you guys so much. It's your boy Brendan, aka Drip, signing out till next time. Peace. Good dueling, my guys.